Dennis Rader, born in 1945 in Pittsburgh, Kansas, known as the BTK Killer, is an American serial killer who murdered 10 people in Wichita and Park City, Kansas, between 1974 and 1991. His moniker, BTK, stands for Bind, Torture, Kill, reflecting his horrific method of binding, torturing, and strangling his victims, who included men, women, and children. Rader taunted police and media with letters detailing his crimes, evading capture for over 3 decades. In this documentary, we explore his heinous acts through the lens of psychology and psychoanalysis to uncover the mind behind the monster. Why Dennis Rader? His case is a psychological goldmine, a chilling study of a man who hid his sadistic urges behind a mask of normalcy, a church president, a family man, a Boy Scout leader. His methodical murders, coupled with his obsessive need to control and terrorize, make him a unique subject for understanding the psyche of a serial killer. Picture this. January 15, 1974, Wichita. The Otero family's home is quiet until Rader slips inside, cutting the phone lines. He binds Joseph Otero, 38, and Julie, 33, with cords, suffocating them with plastic bags as their children Joey, 9, and Josie, 11, scream. Blood pools on the floor as he strangles the kids, Josie's small body twitching before going still. Or April 1985. Maureen Hedge, 53, is dragged from her home, her naked body later found in a ditch, bound and strangled. Rader photographs her corpse in his church basement, posing her like a doll. These weren't just killings, they were rituals, and psychology holds the key to why. Let's dive into the abyss, starting with the man before the monster. Dennis Lynn Rader was born on March 9, 1945, in a quiet corner of Kansas, the eldest of 4 boys. His father, a Marine-turned-utility worker, and his mother, a homemaker, raised him in a strict Lutheran household. On the surface, his childhood was unremarkable: Boy Scouts, church, and school. But beneath the normalcy, something was brewing. Rader later admitted to killing cats and dogs as a kid, hanging them to watch them suffer. For Psychology Today, psychoanalysis points to attachment theory. A disrupted bond with caregivers can stunt emotional growth. Rader's mother, Dorothea, reportedly shamed him for minor infractions, once locking him in a room for wetting the bed. Per-death investigation training academy. These moments of humiliation festered, planting seeds of conduct disorder, a childhood pattern of cruelty and defiance that can evolve into something far darker. By puberty, Rader's fantasies were taking shape. He dreamed of tying up girls and dominating them, describing them as a picture show he wanted to direct for Psychology Today. This wasn't just a phase. It was the start of sexual sadism disorder, where inflicting pain becomes sexually arousing. His time in the Air Force in the 1960s didn't curb these urges. He peeped through windows and stole women's underwear, per Wikipedia. Back in Wichita, he married Paula Dietz in 1971, had 2 kids, and built a life that screamed normal. He worked at ADT, installing alarms, and later became a compliance officer, ironically enforcing rules while breaking the ultimate ones. Psychoanalytically, this double life was a splitting mechanism where Rader compartmentalized his good self, dad, churchgoer, from his dark BTK alter ego, a predator craving control. Why did he kill? Psychology suggests a lethal mix of psychopathy, narcissistic personality disorder, and obsessive-compulsive tendencies. Psychopathy, marked by a lack of empathy and thrill-seeking, explains his cold detachment. MPD fueled his need for attention, evident in his taunting letters, like one sent after his 7th murder. How many do I have to kill before I get a name in the paper or some national attention? For The Independent. His obsessive behavior, possibly linked to a defective thalamus, drove his meticulous planning. For Psychoanalytically, his murders were a transference of childhood humiliations, with victims symbolizing his powerless younger self. He didn't just kill, he orchestrated scenes, binding victims with knots learned in Boy Scouts, controlling every detail like a director. Rader's victim selection was deliberate yet opportunistic. He targeted women primarily, but men and children weren't spared if they were in the way. His projects, as he called them, were often vulnerable, alone at home, easy to stalk per Oxygen.com. Women like Nancy Fox, 25, killed in 1977, or Dolores Davis, 62, in 1991. Fit as fantasy of domination, their femininity a canvas for his sadistic desires. Children, like the Otero siblings, were collateral damage, killed to eliminate witnesses, showing his ruthless pragmatism. Psychoanalysis suggests he saw victims as objects, not people, a trait of psychopathy that let him dehumanize them. His trolling, driving around to spot targets, was a ritual of arousal, a courting phase that built anticipation. For Psychology Today, the murders were horrifyingly theatrical. On January 15, 1974, Rader stalked the Otero home, cutting the phone lines and slipping inside. He bound Joseph and Julie with cords, suffocating them with plastic bags as their faces turned purple, blood trickling from their noses. Joey was strangled in the basement, a bag over his head, while Josie was hung from pipe, her underwear pulled down as Rader watched her die. For Britannica, semen found at the scene showed his sexual gratification, though autopsies confirmed no rape, per EBSCO. March 17, 1977. Shirley Vian, 24, was bound and strangled after Rader locked her kids in the bathroom, their screams haunting neighbors, per Wikipedia. April 27, 1985. Maureen Hedge was taken to Rader's church, where he photographed her bound corpse, later dumping her in a ditch, per Britannica. January 19, 1991. Dolores Davis was strangled with pantyhose, her body left under a bridge, a mask later placed on her decomposed face for Rader's photos. For Psychology Today, a neighbor of Vicki Wegrel, killed in 1986, told police, "I heard a scream, then nothing. I thought it was just a fight, but something felt wrong," per the Wichita Eagle. Rader's methods were his signature. He used ropes, pantyhose, or plastic bags, binding victims to prolong their terror, a hallmark of sadistic control. He took souvenirs, underwear, licenses, jewelry, to relive the kills through autoerotic fantasy, masturbating to photos or trophies. For Psychology Today, his letters, filled with drawings and poems, were a narcissistic performance, ensuring his infamy. One sent in 1978 included a poem about Shirley Vian. Shirley Locks, you'll be dead by morning, per the Wichita Eagle. His cooling-off periods, sometimes years long, weren't idle. He was trolling, planning, and fantasizing, per Psychology Today. This control over his urges, unusual for serial killers, shows a disciplined yet deranged mind. How did he evade capture for so long? Rader's normal life was a shield. His wife, Paula, called him a good man, a great father, per The Independent. His daughter, Carrie, described a normal childhood, per serial killer's daughter. As church president and Cub Scout leader, he was a community pillar, his psychopathic charm disarming suspicion. His ADT job gave him access to homes, and his compliance officer role let him stalk under the guise of authority. A neighbor told the Wichita Eagle in 2005, "He was strict, sure, but killer? Never crossed my mind." His long breaks between murders, 8 years between 1977 and 1985, kept the trail cold, defying the typical serial killer's compulsive spiral. Per The Independent, the end came through Rader's own arrogance. In 2004, the 30th anniversary of the Otero murders sparked media coverage suggesting BTK was dead or jailed. Rader, craving the spotlight, resurfaced, sending letters, photos, and a cereal box with victim souvenirs to the Wichita Eagle, per Britannica. In January 2005, he asked police if a floppy disk could be traced. Lieutenant Ken Landwehr lied, saying it was safe. Rader sent a disk, which police traced as church. Per Psychology Today, DNA from Vicki Wegrel's fingernails matched a pap smear from Carrie, confirming Rader's link, per Wikipedia. On February 25, 2005, he was arrested driving home. "Mr. Rader, do you know why you're going downtown?" an officer asked. He smirked. "Oh, I have suspicions why." Per his June 2005 trial, Rader pleaded guilty, detailing his crimes with eerie detachment, like a professor giving a lecture, per The Independent. Observers noted his lack of remorse, a psychopathic trait. Per WebMD, He described hanging Josie Otero, saying, "She fought hard, but I had control," for the Wichita Eagle. Sentenced to 10 consecutive life terms, 175 years without parole, he escaped the death penalty due to Kansas law per Britannica. Now 80, he's in solitary at El Dorado Correctional Facility. His cell a cave for Psychology Today. Carrie visited in 2023, reporting him rotting and unhappy per Wikipedia. In 2024, she revealed journal entries showing he sexually abused her as a child, shattering her normal memories per Wikipedia. Philosophically, Rader's life screams existential nihilism. He rejected morality, believing his factor X, an urge he claimed drove him, justified his acts per Psychology Today. His fantasy of victims as afterlife sex slaves reveals a God complex, a man rewriting reality to crown himself master per Psychology Today. Yet his end, a lone cage, his name a curse, echoes Camus' absurdism. He sought meaning in control and infamy, only to find a void. His letters, his photos, his taunts were cries for significance, but they trapped him in a cycle of self-destruction. As Sartre might say, Rader's freedom to choose evil was his condemnation, a life spent chasing a hollow throne. This is Dennis Rader's horror. A man who wove his darkness into the fabric of normalcy. His victim screams silence by his not psychology shows a mind wired for cruelty, fueled by narcissism and unbound by empathy. Psychoanalysis reveals a soul scarred by shame, punishing others for his pain. As your heart races, imagine him lurking in a Wichita home, rope in hand, his cold eyes glinting. He's locked away, but his shadow lingers, a warning that evil can wear a smile, lead scouts, and pray on Sundays.